Welcome back to the Bluechip Breakdown. I'm your host, Bull. In today's video, we'll be breaking down the matchup in the CFP National Championship between number 2 Washington and number 1 Michigan. Two undefeated teams, two teams that really have contrasting styles, right? Michigan plays kind of like that up north, slow-paced, run the football. It's cold outside. We can't throw the ball too much, but we are still capable of doing it, and we're going to play really good defense. And then you've got the West Coast style, Pac-12 football with Washington that throws the football all over the field, and they're really good at doing it. And they play really solid defense. They've got one of the best offensive lines in the entire country. Let's go ahead and start to dive into what this matchup looks like. Starting it off with behind the curtain, okay? What this is right here is this is showing the rankings of the two different rosters with Michigan and Washington. Michigan is ranked the number 14th roster in the entire country, and Washington is ranked the number 26th. You can see right here that Michigan has 2 5-stars, 45 4-stars, and 38 3-stars, and Washington doesn't have any 5-stars. They've got 27 4-stars, and they've got 49 3-stars. Now, if you look right below this, Michigan's strength of schedule is ranked number 18th in the entire country, and Washington has the number 2 ranked strength of schedule in the entire country. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and start to jump into the numbers. Let's take a look at what I think is going to be the biggest matchup in this game in Washington's offense versus Michigan's defense. All right, so Washington's total offense is ranked number 10 in the entire country. They've ran 914 plays, 473.6 yards per game, 7.25 yards per play. And then if you go over to the other side right here, Michigan's defense is ranked number 1 in total defense, and they've seen 794 plays, giving up 243.1 yards per game, 4.29 yards per play. And then down here at passing, okay, Washington is ranked number 1 in the entire country with 523 plays, 350 yards per game, 9.37 yards per attempt, and 37 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, completing passes at 66.7%. Michigan is ranked number 2 in passing defense. They've seen 364 plays, 150 yards per game, 5.7 yards per attempt, 7 touchdowns given up with 16 interceptions, and they're only allowing 55.4% of passes to be completed. Now down here, I think this is going to be a big one in the sacks category, okay? Washington is ranked number 4 in sacks given up with 0.79 per game. That is astounding. That's really good. And as we talked about, they've got one of the best offensive lines in the entire country. Michigan has one of the best pass rushers in the entire country. They're ranked number 19 in team sacks with 2.71 per game. And now on to rushing. Washington is ranked number 100 with 391 rush attempts on the season, 123.6 yards per game, 4.42 yards per play, and 28 touchdowns on the ground, which is really good. And now Michigan is ranked number 8th in rushing defense, only giving up 93.1 yards per game, 3 yards per play, 9 touchdowns are given up right there. All right, so looking at those numbers, you can tell that this is going to be a very close matchup on paper, and I think that it's going to be a very close matchup on the field, okay? So keys for Washington's offense to have success in this game is going to be, number 1, to be able to establish a running game. Michigan's got a really good front. They've got a really good defense, period, okay? I didn't pick either one of these teams to be in this position in the national championship because I just did not think that they were for real, okay? Washington, I kind of felt like they could find a way to win just because they've got that type of an offense where, you can see them putting up points. But after watching Michigan versus Alabama, I do feel like they've got a really good defense, okay? So Washington is going to have to find ways to run that football because Michigan's secondary does a great job of staying on top of routes, and they also do a really good job as a unit, as a defense, taking away what an offense likes to do. I saw that versus Alabama. They did a great job of knowing what Alabama was going to do and being right there to stop it. Now, the caveat to that is Penix Jr. is probably the most accurate quarterback in the entire country right now. So he's going to be able to find guys open. And I also like the way that they scheme guys open. I like their scheme. I like their play calling. Both of these two teams, it's going to be a beautiful chess match, and I can't wait to see it. But for Washington, you're going to have to find a way to run that football because Michigan will sit back and kind of take those, big chunk plays away from Washington's offense. So you're going to have to be able to sustain drives, especially on first downs, to stay ahead of those chains, to just, kind of keep it manageable for Penix Jr. and for those 3 NFL studs that they've got on the outside to be able to get open and make some plays. They will make some plays for sure in this game, but how many can they make, and can they get those big chunk plays? those are going to be the big keys for Washington. Now for Michigan on defense, they're going to have to find a way to get to Penix Jr. As we talked about, Washington has one of the best offensive lines in the entire country. And if Michigan cannot get pressure, especially with their front four, it's going to be difficult to be able to contain what their offense does on the outside. But I do think that Michigan's got a really good front, and they do a beautiful job of scheming up pressure. For whatever reason, Alabama just could not block those guys. Now, we do know that Alabama does not have the best offensive line in the entire country. And, they have kind of had some struggles throughout the season. But I really like what I saw from Michigan. They've got some guys up front. I love the way that they get into their run fits as well. But that secondary, they've got some big, long, rangy guys that understand how to take away what Washington wants to do. And I think that the chess match is going to be everything. Okay, it's going to come down to these two coaches who can scheme things up, in the proper times, in the proper situations to be able to put their teams in the best positions to win. But this, to me, this is probably going to be the best matchup. It's kind of a push. It's kind of a stalemate. I can't wait to see it tonight. All right, so now let's flip sides and let's talk about Michigan's offense versus Washington's defense. Michigan is ranked number 70th in total offense. They have ran 867 plays this season, 378.4 yards per game, 6.1 yards per play. Washington's total defense is ranked number 94 in the country. They've seen 1,000 plays, giving up 404.1 yards per game, 5.6 yards per play. Now onto the passing numbers. Michigan's offense is ranked number 71 in passing, and they have run 342 plays this season. They have 218.9 yards per game passing, 8.96 yards per attempt, 24 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Very efficient with 73% of passes being completed. And Washington's defense is ranked number 120th in passing defense. They've seen 564 passes, giving up 267.1 yards per game, 6.6 yards per attempt, giving up 23 touchdowns, but they have 16 interceptions, and they are only allowing opponents to complete 59.3% of their passes. Now onto the sack numbers. Michigan is ranked number 28th in the country in sacks given up with 1.36 per game, and Washington is ranked number 114 in team sacks, getting 1.5 per game. Now onto the rushing numbers. Michigan is ranked number 61 with 525 rush attempts this season, 159.5 yards per game, 4.25 yards per play, and 36 touchdowns on the ground. Washington is ranked number 41 in the country in rush defense. They've seen 436 rush attempts with 137.1 yards given up per game, 4.4 yards per play, and they've given up 21 touchdowns. All right, so looking at these numbers on paper, it does look like Michigan should have some success being able to pass the football on Washington's defense. And it also looks like Washington will have the upper hand versus Michigan's rushing game. But these numbers are going to be skewed because in the Pac-12, teams pass the ball a lot more, and in the Big Ten, teams run the football a lot more. So it's going to look like, one team is going to be better at the opposite thing than what they really are going to be good at. Now, I do think that Washington's defense does a good job versus the pass. I also think that Michigan has a much better passing offense than what some people think, and I am one of those people. I just did not think that Michigan could find some ways to be able to pass the football versus some of these non-Big Ten defenses, just in all honesty. But they did a really good job versus Alabama last weekend. So I do think that, their coaching staff is going to find some ways to be able to scheme things up and do what it is that they want to do. I don't think that the passing game is really where Michigan wants to try to lean on. I think that what they want to really try to lean on is their running game. I think that they will find some success doing that. Texas ran the football pretty well versus Washington, and I think that they'll have some trouble being able to stop Michigan's front, right? Michigan likes to play bully ball on both sides of the football, but Washington, hey, they ain't no joke. They ain't no slouch. They're going to step up, and I think that they're going to be up to the challenge. Again, this is just going to be a chess match. Who can scheme things up, in the proper fashion at the proper times to be able to win this football game, to be able to put up those points. At the end of the day, whenever you look at both sides of the football for both teams, it's going to be more of a shootout, I think, because it feels like Washington's offense can find a lot of success being able to pass the football just because Penix Jr., man, in this offense, it's just special, okay? Michigan's defense, again, they're no slouches. They're good. They're special as well, but I think that better offense will beat better defense all the time. And then if you flip it over to Michigan's offense, I think that they will be able to kind of control the tempo of this football game because I do think that they'll have a lot of success being able to run that football. I think that that's going to be the key to the game for Michigan on offense. And for Washington on defense, their key to success is going to have to be to stop Michigan's run game, to be able to stay ahead of the chains, to get off the field and don't let Michigan, take up too much of the time. Feels like kind of a push in this one. All right, now it's time for my pick in this game. I go by ESPN spread. They've got Michigan favored by 5.5 points, and the over-under is set at 55.5 points. Again, whenever you look at Washington's offense, what you see is Penix Jr., who's probably the most accurate quarterback in the entire country. You've got arguably the best offensive line in the entire country. They do a good job of keeping Penix Jr. upright, and then they've got 3 NFL caliber wide receivers. They do a really good job of scheming these guys open, finding ways to win versus different fronts, different defenses. They've done it all season. They did it versus Texas. And, again, I just did not see them being able to do it. And, I really like what they can do. Now, Michigan's defense, pretty much the exact same thing, but just on the flip side of the football. They've got NFL caliber secondary guys. Okay, they've got NFL caliber linebackers. They arguably have one of the best pass rushes in the entire country. I love what they do. Again, I think it's going to come down to a chess match between these two coaches. They're both very good coaches. I love what both of these guys do. It's not easy to pick right there, but let's flip it to the other side of the ball just to kind of recap, right? Michigan's offense is going to be able to run the football, I believe, on Washington's defense, and they do a really good job of being able to scheme guys open. I've seen them scheme guys wide open every single game this season. I expect for the championship game to be no different. They will find ways to hit those chunk plays down the field and, be able to keep this game relatively close. Now, I do think that the better offense is going to be able to win out in this game. People said that defense wins championships. I just don't think that that's very true these days. And also, I'm kind of leaning more towards the better quarterback, and I think that that's Penix Jr. So I am going to take Washington to win this game. I'm going to call it 33-24 in a, pretty close game. I think it's going to kind of come down to the wire, right? But I just see it playing out this way, and I could be completely wrong because I can see Michigan being able to come out and dominate in this game. Again, they like to play bully ball. They're going to kind of try to slow the pace down a lot in this one, and I could kind of see it going either ways. But official pick, I am picking Washington to cover, and I'm also picking the over in this one. Let me know what y'all think down in the comment sections. Please don't crucify me. If you're a Michigan fan and I didn't pick your team, okay, I really actually like what Coach Harbaugh is doing, and I'm hoping that, y'all ain't going to like this, but I'm kind of hoping that my Falcons can pick him up coming up here shortly, after this championship game, because I think that he is a hell of a coach, and I do think that you guys will find a lot of success today. But that's it for this one. Please make sure to like, subscribe, share with your friends and family, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks. Peace.